Hello, everyone. This is Meena Puri from Ayurvedic Healing Center. And today I am very excited to have Tom Paladino join the conversation. And I want you to really tune into the conversation that it is very cutting edge and it's a very unique concept, and it might be what the world needs right now, because it's using what he's going to talk about for distant healing. So what I'm talking about is scalar energy. And welcome. Thank you, Tom, for joining the podcast. And so I'm so excited to have this conversation with you for myself, as I was looking at some of the questions I may ask, and I thought, boy, I want to ask all of the questions. So we want to have a conversation where we can tell you a little bit about what it is, where it comes from. And Tom also is a scientist, so he has all different take and knowledge about it. So tune in. And so welcome, Tom. Tell us a little bit about you.
Meena, thank you for the invitation, first of all. Pleasure to be here. I am a scalar light researcher. I work with a different energy spectrum. It's not electricity. I've devoted my career to scalar light research, and I believe it offers mankind great promise, this other spectrum of energy, scalar energy. It's not electromagnetic. We'll discuss that in the next half hour.
Wonderful. So where does scalar energy originate from, and how is it different from the electromagnetic energy?
If you look at the universe, all the energy originates from the stars. The stars are the storehouses of this divine energy. And with that, I am able to capture or extract that star energy. That's what I have, an instrument that captures star energy or scalar energy. It's come to my attention that all energy initiates as scalar energy. I'm not the only scalar energy scientist who believes that. So the origin of energy, of light, is always scalar energy. Electricity and magnetism are a derivative of scalar energy.
My God, I got goosebumps when you said that. All energy comes from stars. I never even heard of that, and that we can actually extract it.
Yes.
So what are some of the work that you may have experimented, and what can people do? How do you use it for practical purposes?
So in essence, I have a miniature star in my laboratory. It's not an electrical instrument. And with this, I can control matter. That's one of the functions of scalar energy. It's an intelligence that either assembles matter or breaks matter apart. So I can assemble a molecule such as a nutrient. I can assemble a mineral or an antioxidant or a fatty acid. Or I can disassemble a pollutant, or I can disassemble a microbe. So these instruments allow me to have control, mastery over molecular bonds. And I can create what's advantageous and break apart what's harmful.
What's not.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the benefit or the miracles it can create in healing our body.
It is a miracle. Exactly, because now we have fundamental control of the molecules we want and the molecules that we don't want. And since we work with energy, this is not a chemical. On account of the fact we work with energy, it's clean. It doesn't have any pollution to it. It's a simple, painless, safe process.
My goodness. How does scalar energy it turns on the ability to form our own nutrients?
Yeah. Well, let me say that the human body is composed of elements: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium. And what I do with my instrument is I tell the existing elements in my body to rearrange into the formation of, say, an amino acid or the chemical composition of a vitamin or a mineral. So I'm simply rearranging elements into beneficial molecules. That's the way scalar energy works. I'm not creating matter, I'm rearranging matter.
You're rearranging matter. So is it unique to each person because everyone's constitution is different?
Right.
So how do you adjust that to people being different?
Right. Well, keep in mind that scalar energy is fundamental. It's a primal force in nature, so nothing can impede it from acting. And then when I administer this to people, I let the energy, I believe it's a divine essence, I let the energy make that decision as to how much people need as far as a nutrient. So
I mean, this is...
It really is, it's quite different. It is groundbreaking research. I have an energy instrument that will assemble vitamins, minerals, antioxidants in the quantum body. And it's done by way of an energy instrument. There's no chemicals involved. And this divine energy, this divine intelligence will assume that responsibility on its own. I don't have to do that. It's done automatically.
So, you mentioned something, quantum body. So by that, you're talking about energy body. It's not the physical body. So you're making changes at the source, at the energetic level.
Yes.
When did you come to this? How long have you been doing this work?
I've been at this now for 30 years. This has been my work for 30 years. And
so have you used this with somebody? And if you have, what are the results? What did you notice? What are the findings?
The results are stellar. Everybody that I work with, if they've ever had, say, the herpes virus, after I work with them, they no longer have the herpes virus. So what I've seen with this energy, it offers fundamental control over nature. Fundamental control over nature, including the herpes virus. So to reiterate, everybody who's ever approached me, if they had, say, the herpes virus, the HIV virus, the Epstein-Barr virus, after I work with them, they no longer have those viruses.
So what does the work entail? How long does that take?
I work with people on a daily basis. And when I'm working with these instruments, I'm able to, if you will, break down the molecular bonds of a virus or a bacterium instantaneously. I like to work with people on a daily basis to assure them that they don't have any long-standing pathogenic microbial infection. So working with this energy, I theorize that I can break down the molecular bonds of a pathogen immediately, instantaneously. It's intelligence. I'm not working with physical matter. Yes, I'm working with non-physical intelligence. And when you're working with intelligence, it's an instantaneous action.
I'm so intrigued at this because I do know in my field, energy is everything. We are 100% energy. And I talk about the quantum often, that anything that takes place in the physical, it has happened in a parallel universe, the quantum field. That's the parallel universe. I never even imagined that.
It's scalar energy is a parallel universe. Exactly. I'm not working in the electromagnetic dimension. I'm working in another dimension, which is a scalar dimension.
Because that's where that's the origin. That's where it's coming from. Talk about going to the root cause.
Yes, and that's the scalar component. That's the scalar dimension, which is the intelligence that precedes the physical manifestation. You always have intelligence that precedes.
Absolutely. It's really in Ayurveda, I call it the supreme intelligence, the greater mind. It's the same intelligence, that turns our mother's blood into milk. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? You cannot explain that on a physical level.
Right.
And you're blowing my mind. I knew that I was going to interview you, but I myself had no idea that I was in for. Oh my goodness.
So my instrument is consciousness.
It is consciousness.
Yes. I work with a consciousness instrument. I work with the intelligence of the universe. I work with the mind of God. That's why scalar energy is so important. It's the mind of God.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Look at the
Yeah.
times that we are going through and look at the language that you are speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is incredible, just incredible. What else can you know? So this energy, it transcends time and space.
Yes. Very
That's
good.
why it's instantaneous.
Yes. There is no time lag. It's
There's no
everywhere.
timeline. If you can think it, put your focus on it, it's there.
Yeah.
It's the timing is, you have to align with the time. But I'm totally floored with just learning more about it. So what else can you tell? What else might be relevant for people to hear, for them to get a little bit more knowledge on it?
Yeah. These instruments they're so powerful. They balance the brain waves in the 7 chakras. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because our brain waves are consciousness. Our brain waves are scalar energy waves. So if we can balance the brain waves and balance the 7 chakras, it provides an emotional healing, a spiritual healing. Now, keep in mind, this is a download, or this is if you will, an administration of consciousness or divine energy. So God is the healer. It's not me.
Absolutely.
The animating force is God.
I mean, this is healing. I talk to my clients saying, I do my own processes and techniques and tools that you heal. Suddenly you are healed. You didn't even understand it. And I'm like, well, you don't need to understand it.
Right.
Right? Why do we need to keep analyzing it? We're
No,
not getting anywhere.
you can't analyze the mind of God. And a
So
lot of people, right? A lot of people who have that impediment, you'll never understand what I'm doing. Who can understand the mind of God? Nobody.
You cannot understand that. So, the fact that you are doing what you're doing, obviously you have a very strong spiritual background. How did you even come upon this? Why were you even led to this? What is this for you?
God gave me the wisdom. God gave me the wisdom. That's the key. And I could not have done this without God's wisdom, God's knowledge. You're not going to find this in a textbook. It's all groundbreaking.
You're not. You can't even. Actually, there are no words to explain it even.
You're right. It's mysticism. That's
it's
what
mysticism.
it is. It's mysticism. It's beyond. It's beyond human reasoning, because there's so much to this. One question calls another, calls another, calls another. And if you think you're going to figure this out in 15 minutes,
you're not going to figure it out. And what comes to my mind is the textbooks and the encyclopedias that are filled with learning our psychology. And da 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 da. And here we are still facing the same old problems, and even on a chronic basis, and we are normalizing it. So healing is not an intellectual process. Healing is beyond the intellect.
It is. It really
beyond the intellect.
What I'm doing can only be described by faith, because modern day science doesn't even recognize this energy spectrum.
They do not.
Energy.
Yeah.
And in order to understand my work, you'd have to go back to the basics and realize that there's 2 energy spectrums. As you recognize that, then there's 2 realities, there's 2 universes of possibilities, and you have to go back to square zero, so to speak. And some people, they're just too proud to want to be
consciousness. Yeah,
they're too proud to want to go back to those necessary steps and start from scratch. I had to do that in my career. I had to learn from ground zero, so to speak. And I'm all the better for it, because now I understand the tenets, the axioms that abide by this energy, so to speak.
Oh my goodness. And what a time to be having this conversation, when we are feeling a little bit more comfortable about 5D is multidimensionality. So now there's you raise the bar to a whole new reality that it never even knew that there was medicine in it. never even knew how to bring that and make it practical for people. And I mean, it's mind blowing. So what more? If I know that I signed up for it, but I didn't follow up. How, if I want to experience that, what do I do?
The best way is to go to our website, scalarlight.com. And when you're on the website, you're going to email us. There's a link. You're going to email us your photograph. Now, I don't work with people. I work with your quantum field on the photograph. You're actually going to email us a photograph, and I place your photograph inside a scalar energy instrument. This is how the scalar energy instrument works. It works with the non-physical aura or the non-physical spirit body of a photograph. So visit our website and you're going to sign up. We'll work with you for 15 days, free sessions for 15 days.
And then what happens after 15 days? Like you said, you work with people on a daily basis. For how long? What does that look like?
Sure. So on a daily basis, we're working people with 1 hour of the chakra balancing. And then we follow up with 1 hour of the what we call the microbial cleanse or the pathogenic cleanse. And then the remaining 22 hours, we work with people with nutrients. So 1 hour for chakras, 1 hour for pathogen cleanse, and the rest of the day, we assemble nutrients in the quantum body.
So the nutrients, you're just reorganizing them.
Yes. We're just taking the elements of the body and reorganizing them into a molecular structure of a nutrient. So the building blocks are already in our body, which are the elements.
So nutrition for you is not you're telling people what to eat.
Exactly. See, this is the beauty of it. Everybody's diet should be specific because everybody is specific. There is no one standard diet. So when I'm working with my energy instrument decides what your diet will be like by way of intelligence. I don't calibrate.
You don't.
The instrument knows what your nutritional needs are. I don't do that.
My God.
This is the beauty of scalar energy. It has a mind of its own. It's divine energy.
It's intelligence.
Yes, it's consciousness. It's intelligence. And it far exceeds my human reasoning.
Thank you for saying, because this is in my Ayurveda practice. We know one size fit all approach does not work. People have their unique constitution, their unique mental, psychological makeup, and how I work with clients is different. Two people can walk in with the same issues. They're not going to walk away with the same solutions,
right?
Because they're totally different. So it's so refreshing to hear. It's like you are really speaking my language, and I didn't even know this before I started the conversation with you. This is amazing. This is amazing. We have spent decades, millions of years figuring out food, and we're still struggling with food and figuring out how the heck to heal our emotions and mind and all of that. And there it is.
You're right. And that's not to belittle people in the medical sciences.
No.
See, the medical sciences, let's face it, takes human reasoning. I do not interject my human reasoning with consciousness. The mind of God does not need my advice. Right. So my instrument is administering this divine energy, this creative strength, and God doesn't need my advice.
No, exactly. And you said, you're not the healer. God heals. You're just providing an environment. You're creating an environment in the quantum. So the healing happens as a natural byproduct. And that is, it's wonderful. So all the listeners out there, so if you are listening and if you're going to listen to it later on, be sure to share it with others who might be blown away by it like I am, and to check it out. Like, this is above and beyond than anything, even in my field, I haven't even thought about. So this is talk about cutting edge. This is real cutting edge. So many people may just, totally like scorn. So if you're not ready to hear that kind of information, you will know. But if it is resonating with you, if it's giving you goosebumps like it is giving me right now, then take Tom on his offer, send your picture, do testing, check it out for 15 days. And we live in a world where all is possible.
Yes, it is. And with
This
the
is
mind of God, everything is possible.
Everything is possible. The supreme intelligence, the fifth dimension, people.
Right.
We talk about fifth dimension, and here it is, the quantum, the parallel universe, and how we can, God, take energies directly from the stars. It's like a little sample of the intelligence, and let the intelligence heal you, heal us.
Yes.
So this is incredible. So Tom, are there any more questions that I may not have brought up that you would like to share with the listeners?
No, you're very fluent. You understand where this is going. This
Absolutely.
technology,
And I didn't know before I interviewed you.
not a problem. This technology is the game changer. This is the new paradigm. This is the new model. Gone are the material sciences in which we have to rely upon the effect. Instead, with scalar energy, we are the cause. We can effectuate the change. We don't have to wait on the change. We are the change. I'd rather work with the cause, scalar energy, than rely upon and be subject to the effect. What's my point? Scalar energy is in the driver's seat. Scalar energy commands nature. Scalar energy commands nature. We have dominion over nature.
You said something that made me think of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about, are you being affected or are you causing the effect? He talks about the quantum field. And so when even in that level, when we talk about causing the effect, we're talking about, meditation, raising the level of your vibration and tuning into your thoughts and imagining and choosing a thought that is more future oriented, that's more oriented towards your desire, toward what you want. This is what you're talking about, is beyond everything.
It is.
Beyond everything. My goodness. So
it's the first cause. Very good.
It's the first
cause of the universe.
Cause.
It's
because
from God.
Everything arises from that field of consciousness.
Yes.
The field of consciousness is the absolute, is the unified field.
Yes.
Because
it is
like
a unified field.
It's a unified
field. Why is it unified? Because it transcends time and space, and there's only one concept.
One
which
concept.
Is God.
Exactly. That's
God.
Unified. Yeah. It's like the seed of everything and nothing. It feels like nothing, but it is everything because it is everywhere. It's not separate from us. That's why we can't. It's an experience. Again, it's mystical. It's mysticism, but it's, mysticism are real, are not that far apart, because anything that is real, anything that is unreal can never be imagined. Why we imagine it is because it does exist in another universe, on another dimension or another plane. So thank you so much. There's a question here that I'm also intrigued by. Oh, help us understand how scalar energy is the cause of gravity.
Scalar energy is the intelligence behind everything, including gravity. So very simply stated, when you compress scalar energy, you have a gravitational field. And when you relax it, when it becomes rarefied, then gravity releases, relaxes, and eventually you arrive at a state of anti-gravity. So you can create gravity with scalar energy, compression, or by relaxing, you create a situation, environment of anti-gravity. It's that simple.
Can you know how gravity is one of the causes of aging? Can using scalar energy defy aging or slow down the aging process?
I believe it has. People who have been on my program for quite some time tell me that their aging process has slowed down. I believe it's helped me. I'm 61 years of age, and I believe I'm very fit, and I believe I'm healthy because of my sessions.
You are, and that's going to be an attractive thing. Listen in, people. So if you are, the wrinkles are coming because the gravity is going to pull everything that you give to it. It's going to pull it towards you. So I really want to highlight that benefit, because who doesn't want to look younger? And this is not about looking younger. You are getting reorganized at a
Yes.
cellular and at an energetic
Yes.
level.
Yes. Correct.
And that is coming from within,
And only God can do that. And you're
and
right.
only God can do that.
Your cellular composition, your psychic composition, everything, your spiritual, your psychological composition, it's all being reordered by this divine intelligence.
My goodness. So in another question, we have a couple of more minutes. Why not? It says, how scalar energy is to human enhancement as photosynthesis is to plants.
My predecessor, a scalar energy researcher, his name was Galen Hieronymus. He was able to grow plants in the dark with a scalar energy instrument. He was able to capture scalar energy and then drive it or funnel it into his basement by way of wires. So his potted plants in his basement, he was able to grow them in the dark because he was feeding star energy, scalar energy, into his potted plants. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you can create life and enhance life by way of photosynthesis by the stars, then we should be able to do the same thing with the human body, with the animal body, by way of star energy, scalar energy. So if a scalar energy instrument can create life, maintain life by way of photosynthesis, then scalar energy can likewise create and maintain our life functions.
This just another thought that comes to my mind, that as we are becoming more and more light, higher dimension, even the food we eat, we will naturally gravitate towards lighter foods.
Yes.
Instead of heavier foods, because when we realize that we are energy, we don't need a lot of the earth and the water element to ground us, because we are energy. We are eating energy to sustain our energy. So the prana, or the energy in the food, is what's going to become more and more common thing to assess when people are eating, rather than where we've been, calories and the nutrient contents of this particular food. So this is just fascinating. This is absolutely fascinating. I do have my own curiosity. One question: did you make this instrument?
Yes, I copied my predecessor, Dr. Hieronymus, and I'm also working with a brilliant engineer. But yes, it's our work.
This is your invention.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you're a godsend. What you're talking about is literally and figuratively, it is godsend. It is God's energy.
Consider this, Meena. I can work with one photograph at a time.
Yeah.
Or I can work with a collage of photographs.
And when you work with a collage, are you picking out the collective energy or just one person?
The collective energy. So
you could send
it doesn't matter if I'm working with one person or 1,000 people at a time. The instrument, the energy, can pinpoint each person and understand what each person needs.
So if I wanted to send a picture of someone other than me, my family member, is that okay?
Oh, yeah, just alert them to the fact that they're being treated, educate them. Yeah. We want people to know. To
know and have their consent.
Yes, correct.
Okay, very good. So, well, with that, so just again, if you're listening, so please go to scalarlight.com and, take Tom's offer of giving this test for 15 days. It's a free free testing period for you. There's nothing to lose. People have absolutely nothing to lose. Right. And it's just not possible. If you are understanding, fifth dimension, if you are understanding a quantum field, if that's in your vocabulary, then this conversation will hit home for you. This conversation will resonate with you. Again, don't try to put it in the head. You cannot think and intellectualize it. You sense it. if you're drawn towards it, if your jaw is dropping like mine was when I was having this conversation with Tom, then you are in. Go ahead and give this a try, and you have the information. And thank you so much for tuning in. And Tom, thank you so much. I am so thrilled. I am going to be sending you my picture and pictures of my loved ones with their consent. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. This is the answer to the prayers that we didn't even know that we have. We didn't even know this answer, this kind of an answer could exist. My goodness. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you, everyone. We'll catch you later.